Hi.
This is weird, but we figured this was better. So we're going to give it a go.
We are going to give it a go. So we are in this beautiful studio space, Yoga Hatha in Seaford, and we've just wrapped up our women's retreat. We have spent the most lush afternoon with some beautiful women.
Yeah, really beautiful.
Yeah, really diving deep, doing some conscious movement, doing some questions, doing some journaling, burning of fears, doing lots of
connecting all the stuff that happens in the head with the wisdom that sits in the body, and being able to cycle back through those allows us to do both, right?
Yeah.
Stay in your head, you're dead, but believe your body and it's a lie.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to cycle through both.
Find that sweet spot between those two parts of ourselves. And so what was a interesting common theme, because we love to dive into this, the nature of a retreat or the nature of any kind of circle, even in our online courses, is looking at the mirrors that each person offers to each other. So it doesn't matter who you're in a room with, there's such value in leaning into each other's stories, because there will be gold in it for all of us.
And in fact, that's what we said when we opened the circle, was we're really fascinated, intrigued and excited to see why you're here, because there's part of you that is us, that as we're moving through processing and facilitating with you, we'll also be unconsciously and consciously doing that for ourselves. And how much should we spend time as we were listening to stories that were evolving going, hello mirror?
Yeah, really big time.
And it's profound, because we often think that our experience is so isolating, when in fact it's way more common as a human or a woman's experience than what we think. And yet those things we keep shameful and hidden sort of fester within us until we find that we're casting parts of ourselves off. That's not okay. Yeah, you're right, I should only listen to this. Whereas when we're in circle, we're able to really hear our own wisdom, hear it reflected back in the stories of other women, and really come to a incredibly congruent leap forwards, rather than being swayed by the chorus of our culture or the voices that are louder than us in our sphere, isn't it?
That's really what I loved about today, and I also just have such reverence for in our Facebook groups, in our private groups when we're running Learning to Loving and also Aligned Parenting. There's something for everyone, and there's so much stuff for us.
It's where the most learning happens. Like we always say that, don't we? We have the modules that are up online, but you need to get those done before you jump in the live round, because the live round is not there to work you through those modules. The live round is there to apply the learnings from those modules to your own life, because it's the learning of that intensive time together where you are witnessing other women's stories, pulling apart your own beliefs. That is the stuff that takes a lot of time, not learning the modules. So I mean, you and I are both huge advocates for showing up in a space with other women who have a trust and a container and are on the same path as you.
Yeah, and I think also a literacy in what it is that we teach in the podcast and work through in the podcast, and really backed up by our programs, which really gives that grounding and that sense to be able to contribute as a tribe, and help each other collectively grow, which is such the value in what we seek. It's not simply us, as these leaders trying to teach this stuff. It's everybody becoming really grounded in this language of intentional growth and of looking for the mirrors in our family, and of looking for how family dynamics are shaping us and helping us grow. That was one of the comments that you made today, was relationship is a people growing machine.
There is no right or run, right? No matter what happens in our intimate relationships that society might cast or judge as wrong, right, ultimately when we're looking at partnership, which is the paradigm that you and I sit in, as people growing and we're in dynamic, our partners are literally going to produce behaviours or arise in us feelings that get us to empower the areas that are disempowered, or take us to our own edges, because we're literally in a really painful way calling each other to be bigger, to grow more. But we often don't like the package that comes in, and if we're not doing that consciously, we're still going to be hit unconsciously by these things where we go, fuck. But I have heard so many women who have said to me, that affair was the best thing that ever happened to us, or the moment that my world fell apart was the most courageous and loving moment that preceded, like when you're able to really see the intimacy of all relationships, and there are things more intimate than the person that you have sex with any intimate relationship with our children, with our friends, with our partners, with our colleagues. Sometimes the closer that intimacy, the more we call each other into finding those edges of growth, because we're a dynamic. So if you're underpowered, they're going to be overpowered until you find your raw. And where you are, not owning part of yourself, they're going to reflect that part of you, and you're going to say, I hate the way you're so nasty or manipulative. And it's because we're pulling those parts and casting them out of ourselves, and they're there to reflect them. And as you were saying, Bridget, which I loved the analogy of, is almost like that wave, that the more we cast out and go, it's not us, the more that wave swings back and goes in the view of our world around us. So in the people, in the experiences we will literally create, the more we're casting out, it's not us, we're not that, I'm not any of this, the more that's coming back to get us. And I love that as an analogy.
And a classic one of that, I think, too, is in parenting, particularly if you have really strong values on conscious parenting, or really listening to your children and respecting them, and perhaps trying to play the nice, the kind, the gentle parent. The more polarized you become in that, the more that your partner or somebody else within the family dynamic, maybe it's a mother-in-law, maybe it's your mother, somebody else who's close, will play out the opposite to help you see how children need challenge as well, and to help you own your parts that you're disowning and saying are wrong. It's just such richness when we start to look at the dynamic as a whole.
And we immensely enjoyed facilitating with the women today, and we really do look forward to doing it again, because there's something just extraordinary about in person feeling that body and that emotion, and being able to kind of step into that in a different way, wasn't it? It was really delicious.
And we had like this amazing platter just here, if you can kind of see it, full of lushness, which is nice to add to the mix.
Yeah.
So we hope you're having a gorgeous Saturday evening. And of course our next stuff coming up is the Aligned Parenting Program, so you can join that anytime, but our live round commences at the end of September, and then we've got a live round starting of Loathing to Loving at the end of October. But both of those you can hop on anytime. And
in fact, please do the modules. Don't rely on the live rounds to do the modules, because you cannot learn the content and learn what's happening in facilitation. You really need to commit to learning content first, so you have a grounding, with the view to live rounds being consciously facilitating.
And I would say that the value of these live rounds is getting better and better, because the more and more women we've got now who've done multiple rounds, the more and more mirrors there are, and the more and more facilitation that's happening, not just from us but from the group, which is super valuable.
Yeah, it really is.
So thanks, and have an awesome night.